My name is Jeff Bell, and I am the research director for My Health Optimizer. And basically, for the last 35 years, I've focused on researching into holistic health, alternative health methods, and particularly trying to untangle the huge pile of protocols and ideas and measures that are out there to find the ones that actually really work. And so my clients call me the health detective because I focus on getting to the root cause of the problem and doing what's needed to help the body heal and to help the whole person heal from the root level up rather than just covering the symptoms. And those people who have heard me speak before, been at one of my workshops, or been involved in any of the trainings that I do, or even in my practice, know that I've been, shall we say, upfront in my critique of conventional medicine. So to balance it, I'm going to start by critiquing holistic health just a little bit. And I would say in this country, one of the centers of holistic health, self-styled anyway, is Sedona, Arizona, where my mom spent the last 30 years of her life. And I went there to help take care of a health problem that she was experiencing, to help her with it. And of course, I wound up in the health food store and to get some supplements that she needed, and to get some other supplies for her to help her with some health issues. And while I was walking down the aisle, selecting the materials that we needed, some woman walked up to me, and this is pure Sedona, put her hand on my shoulder, uninvited, and said, "Your kidneys are out of balance." And her hand was about here, on the back. And I looked at her and said, "Well, you know, I really want to thank you." I was on my good behavior. So I said, "I want to thank you for your concern. Do you have any idea where my kidneys are?" And she said, "Well, that doesn't matter." And I said, "Can I make a suggestion? Why don't you go take an anatomy course if you're going to do healing work, you know? I'm all for spiritual enlightenment and emotional compassion and all of these different things, but if you're going to work with the systems of the human body, it would be nice to know where the organs are located and what their primary functions are." So, anyway, I run into stuff like that a lot, and I have to say I was on my good behavior then, but I'm often not too tolerant. So, there are millions and millions of protocols out there. In the last 35 years, I've probably been exposed to a couple 100,000 of them. I don't think that's an exaggeration. And I'm talking about holistic ones right now. And frankly, a good percentage of them are useless, and a few of them are downright dangerous. So what I'm going to do today is I want to focus on specifically some ones that I use on a regular basis, that my clients use on a regular basis, that are safe, effective, and they actually work. Okay? Some of what I'm going to show you is to dial down symptoms. If you have extreme pain, if you've got a splitting headache, or if, in my case, the first time I tried this protocol that I'm going to show you in just a minute, I had just smashed my elbow really hard right on the funny bone, and I have a very high tolerance for pain. I had tears coming down my face. I could not do anything. My elbow was just, it was killing me, or it felt like it. So I remembered two things. I remembered, one, that organic sulfur increases oxygen transfer across the cell membranes, and that if you can get it into the body very, very quickly, you can reduce pain. The second thing I remembered was that most of the central nervous system of the body, and particularly even the peripheral nervous system, goes through the jaw. So the jaw is kind of like an anatomical switchboard for communication, all the signaling that goes on in the body from everywhere between your brain and the rest of your body. And your brain is where you experience pain. It goes through the jaw. That's why if you have like a tooth infection, sometimes you can get a splitting headache from it. Sometimes you can find that your toe will go numb from a tooth infection. It's weird stuff like that. Okay? And the Chinese will tell you that every single tooth has a specific root and that all of those relate to systems within the body. So, here is the protocol. Basically, what you do, and I'm just going to demonstrate it for you. You get organic sulfur, and it must be absolutely pure, no fillers. It must be not distilled to the point where it's beyond a large crystal matrix. It just doesn't work. If you go to the health food store and you buy regular MSM, forget it. You're wasting your money. You're not going to get results. If you're experiencing pain, a headache, just about anything like that, even a broken bone, and you want to take the pain from like a level 7 on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 is no pain and 10 is pain that knocks you unconscious. Say it's at a 7, a 7.5. Well, you want to get it down to like a 1 or a 2 so that it's still there, so you know you've got a problem and you know you need to deal with the problem, because this will not fix the problem, but you want to get the pain down to a manageable level. You don't want to take a lot of ibuprofen and other non-steroidal, anti-inflammatories, because you'll wreck your liver, and it's amazing how fast your liver gets ruined from that stuff. Plus, they're not as effective. So, I banged my elbow and I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the organic sulfur. I'm going to put a little bit on a toothbrush, like this. And afterwards, you can come up and examine this so you can see exactly what I'm using here. And actually, can I borrow a little of this water here? I'm just going to take a tiny bit. Okay? And just take my toothbrush and just brush it around my teeth. And then just swallow the sulfur. It's good for you. We're all sulfur deficient because the soil's been fertilized with nitrogen instead of sulfur for the last 60 years. So there's 4% of the sulfur in our produce that there used to be 60 years ago. So just swallow the sulfur. And what I noticed when I did that, after I bashed my elbow like that, within 30 seconds the pain had gone from literally tears down my face to down to a very manageable level, and I could deal with it and everything was fine. So, very effective technique. It's wonderful, and I've used it ever since and recommended it to people. So that was the first protocol. Next, I want to show you how to instantly stop an asthma attack and how to keep your lungs clear. So if you start to get bronchitis, if you start to get, if you got a head cold and it starts to move down into your respiratory tract and you want to stop it, all you need to do, really simple, is take the Chinese major lung points. The Chinese have energy meridian points all over your body, and Stephen will know this from Reiki training and everything, of course, and probably some other people here know this too. But major lung points are this little area right here, which is between, it's the valley in the front of your chest wall above your armpit, where your upper arm and your chest join. There's like a depression there, and all you do is just rub it vigorously like that, really hard. Make it curl a little bit. It should be uncomfortable, and always do both sides. You can use your fingertips. Yeah, and if it's sore, then it means you need it. Okay? Now, let me tell you what that just did. You do that, okay? It dilates the bronchioles. That's one thing it'll do. I've walked up to people who were right in the middle of having an asthma attack, getting started, and done that with them real quick after getting their permission, of course, and immediately it's more effective than the inhaler is. Okay? And what that does, it dilates the bronchioles, but it does some other things that are more subtle but very important. There's two blood supplies to your lungs. One blood supply is the blood that's been circulating around your body that comes to your lungs to blow off the carbon dioxide, take on oxygen, and get ready to make the rounds again. Okay, everybody knows about that. Everyone focuses on that. What they don't think about is secondary blood supply, which is the blood that's actually there to service the lung cells themselves and keep them oxygenated and healthy and take the waste away. This increases the blood supply in that secondary blood system in your lungs. The third thing it does is the little cilia, the little fiber hairs that are supposed to keep your lungs clear, it activates them. So if you have junk beginning to accumulate in your lungs. If you do that, you may cough a little bit, but it'll clear your lungs and reduce the chances of getting bronchitis or pneumonia. My wife had a tendency to she would get pneumonia about every 3 or 4 years. She would get bronchitis almost every year and have all kinds of problems. And so what I would do is I taught her how to do this, and since I taught her how to do this, she hasn't had a single problem with her lungs. Okay? In fact, when I was a competitive athlete, I used to do this all the time before every event to increase my lung capacity, and I believe it helped. So that's a great technique, works really well. Here's one. Back to the organic sulfur again. This is a solution I made of distilled water and organic sulfur. And the reason I use distilled water is that sulfur combines with almost anything it can. So even if I wouldn't even use the water from my good water ionizer. I use distilled water there because I don't want to create sulfate. I want the sulfur to stay pure. And what this does is if your eyes are tired, I keep this in the car with me, and if I'm driving, like even, it's 5 hours trip for me to come down here and go back again. So I get tired, my eyes get tired, I pull off to the side, set it on spray, and just spray my face a little bit like that, and blink real rapidly so it soaks into my eyes. Now, what that does is there's little tubes in your eyes that are responsible for transferring oxygen and nutrients to all the cells and tissue, including the aqueous humor, which is the sort of liquid gel kind of stuff that's in your eyeball. And those little tubes are called trabecules, and they tend to get kind of gunked up, so to speak, and they lose their efficiency, which is one reason why people get eye pressure problems. They get glaucoma. Glaucoma is a disease that's preventable. The sulfur opens up those tubules, increases the circulation and the flow of the aqueous humor fluids and the oxygenation, and you'll see immediately your vision will improve, and if you've got tired eyes, they'll get untired and almost instantaneously. So it's totally safe, you can't hurt anything, just make sure the water's really clean and that you're using good quality organic sulfur.
How much sulfur are you putting to the water?
That's a great question, thank you. So the question was how much sulfur, how much water? This container here is about 6 ounces, and I used about 1.5 teaspoons, so it's not much. Mm-hmm. 1.5 teaspoons. It's not real finicky. You can, there's a lot of margin in there. And just so you'll know, if you have good quality sulfur that doesn't have anti-caking agents and other junk added in, which you do not want. And by the way, sulfur that's in pill form, forget it, won't work because it's always going to have additives in it to make it possible for them to put it into pills. So, if you have good quality sulfur, you'll find it's hard to get it to go into solution. So what you do is just heat the water a little bit. You get your distilled water, and if you bring it up to about 110 degrees, you'll find the sulfur. You just stir it a little bit with a clean utensil, and it will go right into solution. And once it's in solution, it will stay in solution practically forever. This bottle here, I think I mixed 2 months ago, and the sulfur's still in solution. So it works great. Okay. So, all right. The next one I want to share with you is the other major mineral that almost all of us are badly deficient in is magnesium. And if you take a regular magnesium supplement, the bioavailability of it, the absorption is not good, and long before you get enough of it to actually go into your body to do any good, you're going to get intense diarrhea from it because it's a laxative. And so it's really not doing you any good, okay? So, why is magnesium important? Magnesium is important because it helps the body detoxify just like sulfur does. More importantly than that, or maybe not more important, but just as importantly, what magnesium does is it's one of the crucial elements that's required for energy production. Your cells have little energy generators in them called mitochondria, and if you're low on magnesium, your mitochondria will not work efficiently. You'll be tired, you'll find you're craving sugar, you'll find you're craving coffee, you'll find that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon you just feel like you're walking underwater and you can barely move. So you can get a good quality magnesium supplement, and the one that I like to use is one that's called magnesium oil. Now, it's not really technically an oil, it's really a magnesium salt solution. It feels sort of oily to the touch, which is why it's called oil, and you can spray it sublingually, again, right under your tongue, 3 or 4 or 5 squirts, like this. And it tastes god-awful, I can promise you that. And in addition to tasting god-awful, it also will maybe sting a little tiny bit, but not. It goes away very quickly, and within about 5 minutes, your energy level come right back up. And if you've got like a sugar craving or something like that, it'll take it out for you. So it's fantastic for that. I keep this in the car with me along with my eye spray. And if I'm driving and I start to get tired, I just pull over the side there, get off the freeway or whatever, find a safe place, get a couple sprints, wait a couple minutes, and I'm alert again and safe to drive. So it's very, very handy for that. The next one I want to show you is a little bit more complicated protocol, and it's actually using DMSO. You may have heard of that. And it's using organic sulfur again. And this protocol is one of the most powerful ones I know. There's a couple of people who've been working with me who were scheduled for hip replacements, and I showed them how to do this, and we did this 2 or 3 times a week for a period of a couple of months. We also did some detox and some other things, got some supplements balanced. They ended up canceling their hip replacements, and they're out walking, running, playing golf, and having a good time. So it's amazingly powerful. I will tell you, this one needs to be done carefully because DMSO will pull anything that's on your skin that's of a molecular weight of 1,000 or less right through your skin. So if you have like perfume or antiperspirant or anything on your skin that maybe your body doesn't really want inside of your body, then you need to wash it off. And when you wash it off, I use a non-toxic soap. I use Castile, I use Dr. Bronner's Castile Baby Mild unscented soap. I wash it thoroughly, which I did, by the way, right before I came in. I keep a bottle with me. And my elbow's not sore right now, but it's not going to hurt anything, so I'm just going to demonstrate it. What you do, basically, is you take a small amount of the organic sulfur, and again, it's got to be very high quality, and you pour maybe a half a teaspoon of DMSO, and that's got to be unscented, pure DMSO. Should be 99% ideally. Like that. That up. And you kind of mix it around a little bit. And then you just slather it on and let it soak in. And that's 10 times as effective at least as any topical cream, arnica, or any of those things. It's better than any homeopathic. One thing to keep in mind, this particular protocol has been used by the most highly paid athletes on the planet. It's also used by the horse trainers who work with horses that cost millions of dollars, race horses. And they fix sore joints, impact injuries, all kinds of stuff. Now, if you put enough of it on, what you'll notice is in a little bit you'll get a garlicky taste on your tongue. That's how come you know it's penetrating. And that's because the DMSO, which tastes a little bit like garlic, goes right through. Are we running close on time? We got about 5 minutes. So one thing, we're obviously not going to finish everything I've got. The next one's really fast, but I want to actually make mention of something that's important. On the table over there, you'll find 2 things. One, there's sign-up sheets. And what those sign-up sheets are is if you write down your name and your email address, I've got a number of different articles. There's some of the key ones that I make available at no charge to people. Check off the ones that you're interested in. And they will tell you in detail some of the protocols we've covered today. Furthermore, there's also a little about my practice, and if you're interested, anybody who hasn't had one can contact me to have a complimentary initial consult. There's no charge for it, there's no obligation, and if you have any health concerns, or even if your health's pretty good but you just want to bring it to the next level, I promise you will get value out of that initial consult, and of course if you want to do more you can, but you don't have to. Okay, next protocol. This one, if you're feeling nauseated, maybe you've gotten seasick, maybe you're dizzy because you rode on the roller coaster too long or something, or for whatever reason, maybe you read the newspaper and now you're feeling nauseated, okay, which wouldn't be surprising these days. Real simple, 2 pressure points on either side of the pulse points on the inside of your wrist. Take them and just vigorously massage them. And if you're feeling nauseated, within about 30 seconds that'll go down. That is so effective that for sailors and people on the water who are having problems with seasickness, they have bracelets that have little massage points sticking out, and they wear them, and they find that it often works better than any chemical or pharmaceutical. Do we have time for one more? Okay. The next one I want to show you is really, really strange. And this one you do have to be careful, like the DMSO. You want to keep your gums free of bacteria because it protects your heart. When you have dental bacteria, it can easily migrate into the bloodstream, goes down into the heart, and it will destroy heart valves. It's one reason why you have heart surgery to replace valves right and left. Heart valves should last 120 years or so. There's no reason for them to become damaged, and it's almost always inflammation and bacteria that do the job. So, the way you kill it is you get some pure oil of oregano, and this is a situation I really want to emphasize this. This is not a situation where if a little bit is good, more is better. Don't think that way and do this. Take 1 drop, and 1 drop only, and it should be organic, pure oil of oregano. You get 1 drop, put it like in a spoon, and I have 1 drop there. And again, put it on a toothbrush, just brush your teeth, brush it all around like that. And then think of some swear words that you'd like to address to me, because your mouth will burn for a minute or 2. It will feel like you just ate something, a hot tamale or something, I mean, way too hot. But the good news is, as long as you don't do more than that 1 drop, it'll go away. Mine's already starting to go out. In about another 30 seconds, it'll feel normal. Because the oil of oregano has very high surface tension, it capillaries into all the little nooks and crannies in your mouth, and it wipes out all the dental bacteria. Bacteria cannot become resistant to it. Okay? There's no bacteria known to man that can develop resistance to that. It will kill them all. I highly recommend that before any dental procedure, including just getting a cleaning done, because you know your gums are going to bleed a little bit, do that right before you go to the dentist. Do it right when you come back. Okay? And I think, anyway, take a look and see if any of the articles are of interest to you. Make sure you write your email address very legibly for me so I can get it right. And that's probably good for now. I have about 5 more, but I don't think we have time for them. Do we have time for 1 more? 1 more. Okay. We need a little anatomy for this. Does anyone here know what the origin and insertion are of a muscle? Obviously, Sherry does, and obviously you do as well. Okay, just real quickly, your muscles, in order to move your skeletal system, which is one of the things that muscles are supposed to do, they need to be attached at 2 points, and muscles work by contracting. The end of the muscle that's attached to the skeletal system that doesn't move when the skeletal system, or when the muscle contracts, is called the origin. The point that moves where it is attached is called the insertion. So if you look at here, for example, this would be an origin, over there would be an insertion, because when that deltoid muscle contracts, your arm goes like that, okay? So that's pretty simple. You don't need to get too fancy with that. One of the things that will happen with sore joints is the insertion points and the origin points will weaken. And usually that means that there's some nutritional thing or some toxins or some inflammation that should be addressed. But one of the things you can do that's very simple, and you can learn to do this yourself, to begin the healing process besides getting those primary causes addressed, is to find the origin insertion points and massage them and make them hurt a little bit. Do it vigorously. And what that does is it stimulates the circulation and the energy. And this is so effective that I know someone who had an avulsion fracture, which is where one of those points starts to tear away and tear a little of the bone. And it hadn't broken all the way loose. If it had broken all the way loose, it probably needs surgery to repair it. But it had partially broken loose, and he just did that. I showed him that. He did that a couple times a day for about a week, and it healed completely. And I've healed injuries that way on myself. So it's very effective. And we're probably out of time. Thank you very much. I would love to help you with any problems that you may have. Again, been doing this work for 35 years. I'll be doing it for another 50. And so I just keep learning more. Thank you.